Debden Airfield, Essex, England, September 1943. The English rain does not wash things clean. It just makes the mud deeper. It coats the perforated steel planking of the runway in a slick, treacherous sheen. Inside the cockpit of a brand-new P-51B Mustang, Second Lieutenant Ralph "Kid" Hofer is staring at the rain streaming down his canopy. He is 22, but he looks 18. He has a shock of unruly hair that defies military regulation, a uniform that looks like he slept in it, and a Missouri football jersey he refuses to take off under his flight suit. To the brass of the 4th Fighter Group, he is a disciplinary nightmare. To the flight surgeons, he is a medical curiosity, a man with a resting heart rate so low it suggests hibernation, yet who flies with a ferocity that borders on the suicidal. He is not supposed to be a fighter pilot. He washed out of the Royal Canadian Air Force for lack of discipline. He barely scraped through Army Air Force's training. He flies by instinct, not by the book. And in a machine as unforgiving as the P-51 Mustang, instinct is usually a one-way ticket to a smoking hole in the ground. The P-51B is a thoroughbred. It is powered by the Packard Merlin V1650-3, a liquid-cooled masterpiece producing 1,600 horsepower. It is sleek, sexy, and incredibly fast. But it has a secret weapon that is also its greatest liability: the laminar flow wing. It is a mathematical marvel designed to reduce drag and increase range. It is thin, sharp, and slippery. But the wing has a dark side. It is unforgiving at the edge of the operational envelope. Unlike the gentle, thick wings of a P-47 Thunderbolt that shudder and buffet to warn a pilot before they stall, the Mustang's wing quits instantly. One moment you were flying, the next, the lift vanishes completely, and the massive torque of the engine flips you onto your back. Hofer takes off. The Mustang splashes through the mud and claws into the gray sky. He is on a training flight, a mock dogfight with his squadron commander, the legendary Major Don Blakeslee. Blakeslee is a by-the-book tactician, a disciplined professional who views aerial combat as geometry. Hofer is a wild card. They climb to 25,000 feet. The air is thin and brutally cold. "All right, kid." Blakeslee's voice crackles in the headset. "Show me a defensive spiral. On my mark, break left." Blakeslee dives, simulating a German attacker on Hofer's tail. Hofer reacts, but he doesn't execute the smooth, graceful spiral the manual dictates. He gets impatient. He shoves the stick forward with a violence that lifts him out of his seat against the harness. The Mustang screams downhill. The airspeed indicator winds up past 300, 350, 400 miles per hour. The history of aerial warfare is written by the survivors, but the tactics are often invented by the guys who nearly didn't make it. We are about to witness a rookie mistake that terrified a squadron commander, but unlocked a secret of physics that changed dogfighting forever. If you want to ride shotgun on the edge of the envelope, make sure to like this video and subscribe. You won't find this move in the flight manual. At 450 miles per hour, the air turns into concrete. Compressibility effects begin to stiffen the controls. The stick feels like it is set in cement. Blakeslee is right behind him, closing the distance. Hofer needs to shake him. Hofer makes the wrong turn. Instead of rolling smoothly and pulling back to create a tight spiral, he panics. He kicks the rudder pedal hard to the stop while simultaneously jerking the stick back and to the left. He is crossing the controls, a maneuver strictly forbidden at high speeds. He is asking the plane to yaw one way and roll the other while pulling high G-forces. It is aerodynamic anarchy. The Mustang resists. The laminar flow wing on the right side generates lift, while the left wing, shadowed by the fuselage and the extreme angle of attack, stalls completely. The Mustang doesn't turn, it tumbles. It departs controlled flight with a violence that slams Hofer's head against the canopy rail. The aircraft executes a snap roll, a high-speed horizontal corkscrew. It rotates 360 degrees in less than a second, wild and uncontrollable. Hofer is pinned by the G-forces. His vision grays out. The horizon spins like a roulette wheel. He is falling at 500 feet per second. "Hofer! Recover! Recover!" Blakeslee is screaming over the radio. But Hofer can't recover. The forces are too strong. He is just a passenger in 9,000 pounds of screaming aluminum heading for the English countryside. Then pure, unadulterated instinct takes over. The manual says that in a spin, you cut power and center the stick. Hofer does the opposite. He keeps the throttle pinned. He fights the stick, manhandling the ailerons against the spin. Suddenly, the Mustang bites. The airflow reattaches to the laminar wing with a jarring thud that shakes Hofer's teeth. The tumbling stops instantly. Hofer finds himself in level flight at 15,000 feet. He is shaking. His neck hurts. He checks the wings. They are still there, miraculously. But he notices something else. He looks up. Major Blakeslee is thousands of feet above him and miles ahead of him. When Hofer entered the tumble, he was doing 450 miles per hour. When he recovered 3 seconds later, he was doing 250 miles per hour. He had shed 200 miles per hour of velocity in a heartbeat. He hadn't just crashed, he had slammed on the air brakes in the middle of the sky. Blakeslee, flying a standard pursuit curve and expecting a smooth turn, had shot past him like a bullet. Hofer wipes the sweat from his eyes. His hands are trembling on the stick, but his mind is racing. He realizes that the Mustang's greatest weakness, its tendency to snap-stall viciously at high Gs, could be its greatest weapon. If he could learn to control that snap, to trigger it on purpose and catch it exactly when he wanted to, he could do the impossible in a dogfight. He could stop in mid-air. Debden Airfield, the next morning. Major Don Blakeslee is furious. He is pacing the briefing room, a lit cigarette in his hand. "You nearly ripped the wings off that bird, Hofer," Blakeslee shouts. "You crossed the controls at 400. Do you have a death wish?" Ralph Hofer leans against the wall, picking a piece of chewing gum from a silver wrapper. He looks unbothered. He grins, a lopsided, reckless grin that infuriates the older officers. "I didn't rip 'em off, Major," Hofer drawls. "I just flexed 'em." "You're grounded, kid. Go think about physics for a few days." Hofer goes to the barracks, but he doesn't think about physics in the way Blakeslee wants him to. He thinks about the feeling of the snap, the violence of it, the way the horizon blurred into a gray smear. He grabs a model plane from his footlocker. He sits on his bunk, twisting it in his hands. Yaw left, pull back, snap. He realizes the geometry of the fight. A standard turn is an arc. The enemy calculates the lead based on that smooth, predictable curve. The snap is a vertex. It is a sharp corner in a round world. If he can master the Hofer snap, he can become a ghost. He can be there 1 second and gone the next. He spends his grounded days visualizing it. He talks to the crew chief, Sergeant Ski Wozniak. "Ski, check the rudder cables. Tighten them up. I need them to be responsive." "Their spec, Lieutenant." "Make them tighter. I need it to kick." Ski looks at him like he's crazy. "You're gonna break the cables, sir." "Just do it, Ski." Hofer was reinstated a week later. He goes back up. He practices. He climbs to 30,000 feet and throws the Mustang into violent snaps. He learns the edge. He learns exactly how much rudder causes the tumble and exactly how much aileron catches it. He learns that the P-51 Mustang is not a lady. She is a wild horse, and you don't ride a wild horse with gentle hands. You ride it with spurs. He is ready for combat, and the Luftwaffe has no idea what is coming. They are used to American pilots who fly by the manual, smooth, predictable, safe. They are not ready for the kid. March 1944, over the North Sea. The P-51s of the 4th Fighter Group are escorting B-17s to Berlin. It is the first time the Americans have gone all the way to the capital. The Luftwaffe is up in force. Hofer is flying a P-51B named Salem Representative. He's bored. Formation flying is torture for him. He drifts out of position, wandering, looking for trouble. "Blue 4, tighten up," the flight leader barks. "Roger," Hofer mumbles. He doesn't tighten up. He spots a dot on the horizon below, a straggler. He breaks formation. He dives. It is a Messerschmitt Bf-109G. The pilot sees Hofer coming and brakes hard right, diving for the deck to escape. Hofer follows. The chase is on. They are screaming down from 25,000 feet to 5,000 in seconds. The German pilot is good. He uses the 109's superior roll rate to jink and weave. Hofer closes to 400 yards. He's fast, too fast. He's overtaking the German. This is the classic trap. If he overshoots, the German will pop up and shoot him in the back. Hofer feels the speed, 420 miles per hour. The controls are heavy. "Time to dance," he whispers. He doesn't throttle back. He doesn't pull up. He stomps the left rudder and yanks the stick back. The Mustang protests. The airframe shudders with a metallic groan that vibrates through Hofer's bones. The laminar flow wing stalls. Snap! The plane violently cartwheels to the left. It sheds speed instantly, dropping from 420 to 280 miles per hour in a brutal deceleration. The German pilot, watching in his rearview mirror, thinks the American plane has disintegrated or lost a wing. He stops maneuvering, assuming the fight is over. He straightens out to check the kill. That is his mistake. Hofer catches the snap. He slams the stick forward and applies opposite rudder. The Mustang stops tumbling and snaps into a stable, high angle of attack firing position. He is now sitting perfectly behind the German, matching his speed exactly. The overshoot never happened. Hofer squeezes the trigger. 4.50 caliber machine guns roar. The tracers walk up the fuselage of the 109. The German plane erupts in flame and spirals into the sea. "Splash 1, Hofer says calmly. He rejoins the formation. The other pilots look at him. They saw the tumble. They saw the recovery. "Kid, what the hell was that?" one of them asks over the radio. "Just clearing my guns," Hofer quips. But the word spreads. The Hofer snap becomes a legend in the barracks. It is dangerous, it is reckless, but it works. Hofer's tally starts to climb. 5, 10, 15. He becomes an ace in a day. He destroys aircraft on the ground and in the air. He flies with a reckless abandon that terrifies his wingmen. He often returns alone, claiming he got lost, but his gun camera footage tells the truth. He goes hunting. But the maneuver takes a toll, not on the pilot, but on the machine. The P-51 is built to take 7.33 Gs. Hofer is pulling 9 or 10 in the snap. The rivets on the Salem Representative are popping. The skin on the wings is wrinkling like old tinfoil. Crew Chief Wozniak is having nightmares. "Lieutenant, the main spar is stressed," Wozniak pleads, pointing to the wing root. "You're bending the bird. She's gonna fold up on you one day." "She likes it rough, Ski," Hofer says, patting the nose of the plane. "Don't worry, she won't quit on me." But the Luftwaffe is adapting. They're bringing in the new Focke-Wulf 190D9s, the long-nosed Doras. They're fast, they can climb with the Mustang, and they're waiting for Hofer to make a mistake. June 21st, 1944. Operation Frantic. The war has stretched the limits of geography. The 4th Fighter Group is embarking on a shuttle mission, a marathon flight from England to Russia, then to Italy, then back to England. It is a triangle of exhaustion designed to bomb targets deep in the Nazi Empire that were previously unreachable. Ralph Hofer is in the cockpit of the Salem Representative, but he is not the same kid who arrived in England a year ago. He is gaunt. His eyes are sunken. He is shivering under his flight suit, wrapped in a wool blanket he stole from the barracks. He has malaria. The flight surgeons have ordered him to the hospital, but Hofer refused. He knows that if he goes to the hospital, they will take his plane away. And the plane is the only thing keeping him alive. The P-51B is tired too. The fuselage is slightly twisted from the torque of the snap rolls. The rivets on the wing roots are loose. The Packard Merlin engine is weeping oil. They are flying over Hungary. The radio crackles. "Bandits! 12 o'clock low! Stukas!" Below them, a slaughter is unfolding. A formation of Junkers Ju-87 Stuka dive bombers is attacking a Russian column. The Stuka is slow, ugly, and lethal to tanks, but it is helpless against fighters. However, the Stukas are not alone. They are shepherded by a swarm of Messerschmitt Bf-109s. Hofer breaks formation. He doesn't ask for permission, he just dives. He is feverish. The world is a blur of adrenaline and sickness, but his hands are steady. He drops on the rear Stuka. He fires. The bomber explodes in a ball of dirty orange fire. He doesn't pull up. He keeps his speed up, 400 miles per hour. The next Stuka is 500 yards ahead, but the escorts are diving on Hofer now. 3 Bf-109s are on his tail. Hofer is in the kill box, the middle of the enemy formation. He has targets in front and killers behind. Most pilots would break off. Hofer presses the attack. He fires at the second Stuka. It catches fire and rolls over. The 109s are closing. Tracers zip past his canopy. They have the angle. They have the speed. Hofer executes the snap. He yanks the stick back and kicks the rudder. The Mustang violently tumbles to the right, shedding speed like it hit a brick wall. The 3 German pilots are caught completely off guard. They are flying formation on a target that suddenly stops moving forward. They overshoot. They scream past him, their engines whining as they try to slow down, but it is too late. Hofer catches the tumble instantly. He slams the stick forward. The Mustang bites the air. He is now behind the 3 109s that were just chasing him. It is the ultimate reversal. Physics has been weaponized. He lines up on the center 109. Bang! The German wing shears off under the impact of the 50 calibers. He skids the Mustang left, a flat, uncoordinated yaw using the rudder. He lines up on the left 109. Bang! The pilot bails out. He snaps the plane right again. He lines up on the third 109. This German pilot is terrified. He dives. Hofer follows. He's relentless. He fires a long burst. The 109 exploded into the Hungarian countryside. Hofer pulls up. He's breathing hard. The fever is making his vision swim. He sees 2 more Stukas ahead. They're trying to run. He has the energy. He climbs, zooms over them and rolls inverted. He drops down from the vertical, the classic split S. He kills both of them in one pass. In less than 2 minutes, Hofer has destroyed 5 aircraft. He has used the snap turn to convert a defensive death trap into an offensive slaughter. He has rewritten the geometry of the fight. He turned a straight line into a circle and a circle into a knot. He radios his squadron. "I'm out of ammo, heading to base." He landed at the Soviet airfield at Poltava, Ukraine. The P-51 taxis in. It looks like a wreck. It is covered in soot, oil, and the grime of a 1,500-mile flight. Hofer shuts down the engine. The prop ticks as it cools. He can't get out. He is too weak. The Soviet mechanics climbed up onto the wing. They look into the cockpit. They see a young American boy, shaking with fever, soaking wet with sweat, grinning like a lunatic. They help him down. They look at the gun ports on the wings. The paint is blistered and peeled back from the heat of the barrels. A Soviet general shakes his hand. Through a translator, he says, "You fight like a Russian. You fight with your heart, not your head." Hofer smiles weakly. He leans against the landing gear of the Salem representative. "I fight with my feet," Hofer whispers, pointing to his rudder pedals. "It's all in the feet." That night, Hofer sleeps under the wing of his plane. He refuses to go to the barracks. He doesn't trust anyone else to touch the machine. He dreams of falling. He dreams of the spin. He knows he is living on borrowed time. The snap turn relies on the structural integrity of the wing spars. Every time he does it, he weakens the metal. Fatigue cracks are microscopic, invisible. They grow with every G. And Hofer is pushing 9 Gs every time he fights. The next day, they fly to Italy. Hofer shoots down another plane. He is the top scorer of the group. He is unstoppable. But the physicists are patient. Gravity is patient. Metal fatigue is patient. They are waiting for the bill to come due. Mostar Sud Airfield, Yugoslavia, July 2, 1944. The end of Ralph Hofer does not happen in the high, cold air where he is a king. It happens in the dirt. The 4th Fighter Group is on its way back from Russia to Italy. Hofer is flying P-51B number 42106924, his beloved Salem representative. He is separated from his flight. This is not unusual for the kid. He has a habit of wandering off to find trouble. He spots a German airfield near Mostar. It is heavily defended. Flak towers, machine gun nests, and parked aircraft. Hofer checks his fuel. He checks his guns. He is alone. He is tired. The malaria is still burning in his blood. He dives. He strafes the airfield. His 500s chew up a line of parked Junkers transports. He pulls up, banking hard around the flak bursts. But this time, the trap is set for him. A swarm of Messerschmitt Bf-109s from Jagdgeschwader 52 is scrambling. They catch him low, on the deck. Hofer fights, he snaps, he turns, he kills one 109 in a head-on pass that would make a sane man flinch. But he is at 100 feet. The air is thick and hot. The German leader gets on his tail. Hofer is cornered. If he climbs, they shoot him. If he turns, they cut him off. He has to use the snap. It is the move that has saved him a dozen times. It is his signature. He yanks the stick. He kicks the rudder. The Mustang shudders. The laminar wing stalls. The plane tumbles. But at 10,000 feet, a tumble is a tactical pause. At 100 feet, it is a mathematical error. There is no room to recover. The Mustang snaps inverted. It sheds its speed. The German overshoots. But gravity doesn't care about tactics. The nose of the Salem representative drops. Hofer pulls back, trying to catch the airflow, trying to get the wing to bite one last time. Maybe he was too slow. Maybe the fever slowed his hands by a fraction of a second. Or maybe the main spar, tortured by months of 9G snaps, finally gave up the ghost. The Mustang hits the ground flat. There was no fireball, just a massive cloud of dust. The plane skids across the rocky field and stops against a stone wall. Ralph "Kid" Hofer is found dead in the cockpit. His body is unmarked. The impact was so violent and sudden that his heart simply stopped. He had braked one last time. The legacy of the mistake. The news of Hofer's death hits the 4th Fighter Group like a physical blow. He was their mascot, their wild child, their proof that you could defy the odds. Major Blakeslee packs up Hofer's belongings. A few shirts, a deck of cards, a stray dog named Duke that Hofer had adopted and kept in the barracks. He was a natural, Blakeslee wrote in the final report. He flew by feel. He didn't know aerodynamics, but he knew flight. But the Hofer snap, the maneuver born from a rookie mistake, did not die with him. Other pilots had seen it. They had learned it. It became known by different names. The high G barrel roll, the displacement roll, the vector roll. It became a cornerstone of P-51 tactics. The Mustang was faster than the German and Japanese planes, but it turned wider. The snap allowed the Mustang to fake a turn, stop, and force the enemy to fly past. It was the birth of energy maneuverability tactics. It taught pilots that corner velocity, The speed at which you can pull maximum Gs without stalling is not a fixed number. It was a variable you could manipulate. Hofer's mistake taught the world that a stall is not the end of flight. It is a state of flight. Decades later, the concept of post-stall maneuvering became the holy grail of fighter design. Engineers studied the P-51's laminar wing. They realized that its sharp stall characteristic, which was considered a flaw, was actually a feature if controlled. It allowed for instantaneous changes in pointing angle. This philosophy led to the design of the F-16 Fighting Falcon and the F-18 Hornet. These planes are designed to fly at high angles of attack, to ride the edge of the stall, to snap the nose around just like Hofer did. The modern Cobra maneuver, where a Su-27 jet pulls up past vertical and stops in mid-air, is the spiritual successor to Hofer's tumble. Ralph Hofer is buried in a quiet cemetery in St. Louis. He is not as famous as Chuck Yeager or Richard Bong. He didn't write a book. He didn't become a general. But in the fraternity of fighter pilots, he is a legend. Every time a modern fighter pilot executes a jink to spoil a firing solution, every time a pilot uses air brakes to force an overshoot, every time a plane defies the smooth arcs of geometry and flies a jagged line, that is the kid. That is the 22-year-old cadet who misjudged a dive, nearly ripped his wings off, and decided that instead of being afraid of the edge, he would live there. The P-51 Mustang won the war because of its range and speed, but it survived the dogfights because of men like Hofer, who treated the manual as a suggestion and physics as a challenge. They proved that the most dangerous weapon in the sky is not the gun, or the engine, or the plane. It is the pilot who makes a mistake, survives it, and then turns around and says, "I meant to do that." This was the story of Ralph "Kid" Hofer, the pilot who turned a rookie mistake into the deadliest move in the P-51 playbook. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the physics of aerial combat, please hit that subscribe button. We release new documentaries every week. What do you think? Was the snap a stroke of genius, or was he just lucky to survive as long as he did? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.